What is your understanding of the concept of phenomenology and how does it relate to your work?
For me, phenomenology is about the interaction between the spectator and the artwork. That's how I use it. So for me, the work exists in the interaction between the spectator and the photograph. That's where the reaction is, that's where the work lies. I want them to be absorbed in the colour, I want them to be immersed in it and have a full experience.
Could you tell me a little about the process behind these images?
I won't give too much away because otherwise the spectator will just dismiss them and it will take away the mysteriousness of the photos. But they are taken using a digital SLR camera, optical instruments, and I manipulate light.
How do you feel about aspects of colour and contour emerging from your work?
The aspects of colour I use a lot. Colour greatly influences me. The contour can be seen from somewhat in my work, but less so than colour. It's the interaction between the colour that for me creates the work. The shapes add something a little bit extra, but most of the image is made up by the colour.
Do you identify with the artist Wolfgang Tillmans, and how has his work influenced yours?
I do, mainly in his use of chemigrams, because he uses line and colour and reproduces these on a very large scale, but also because he does fashion photography, commercial photography, as well as fine art photography, and he uses this multidisciplinary work without reducing his integrity as an artist.
Can you tell me a little about the historic battle between the preciousness of a painting versus a photograph?
When photography came along, a lot of people said that it was only through photography taking over the mantle of painting's realism that painting was able to explore abstract techniques and therefore was able to create work like Jackson Pollock and Rothko. For me, I think that painting and photography have the capability to coexist and mutually influence one another. I think today we're moving towards a far more sort of a symbiosis between the two.
As an artist, what is your view on the reproducibility of photographic work, and do you strive to create objects that are unique?
With my photograms, they are one of a kind, unique. So I like the preciousness of those. It is difficult when doing photography that people ask you all the time, yes, you can just have loads of digital copies, and does this ruin the specialness of the image? For me, it doesn't, because the work exists in the mind of the viewer. Therefore, the reproducibility isn't a problem.
As an artist, how far do you structure colour in your work in order to manipulate or guide the spectator?
None of these works are created on a computer, therefore none of it is manipulated. I use filters in my work, but for me it's all about the instinct when I'm working with the colours. So whatever reaction comes out of those is great.
Does your photographic work challenge the capacity of painting to transcend its subject or transcend the visual itself?
I would say, well, because there aren't much examples of abstract photography in the world, so I would say it's kind of exploring the same methodology that modernist painting did. So you can sort of look at these with a similar stance that you can Rothko paintings. I would put them on a similar line than that.
I know that Rothko intended for his work to emerge out of a consummated experience between picture and onlooker. Do you feel that this relates to the way you portray your images as well?
Most definitely. I think, for me, the work only exists in the mind of the spectator. So each spectator will have a different reaction from their images, therefore the work will be completely different from my view to your view, let's say.
Would you describe your photographs as chemigrams?
I would say they have similar approaches to chemigrams, but they're different technically. So, but you can approach them as different styles of looking, I would say.
Thank you, Jec.
Thank you.